one of the big questions that did come up was what was the initial goal with the light and shadow voices, and this is where we can talk about what happens with this now, because the intention at the end of Sliske's endgame was that Sliske would be possessing the player. So everybody who thought that back then was correct in that, but they changed that as of Desperate Times. Having Sliske be the focus of the storyline, they said, again, wasn't something they wanted to do. And at the end of Endgame, they could have just completely ignored the Sliske angle. They could have put Jazz back to sleep, and they could have ended things there. But they said it would have felt like a cop-out to ignore the plot that was set up, so instead they drove down that Elder Gods path instead. And what happened was that there was a transition where a new way to use the plot was found. The World Guardian powers were undefined at the end of Endgame, and working out why Guthix wanted to die wasn't hashed out to the player at the end of Sliske's endgame, but it was laid out in Azanadra's quest, as we talked about. So that's one of those big things that effectively completes and fulfills and fills out that World Guardian arc, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. There was a lot of Clan Quest discussion about the Sliske thing.
Oh yeah, I saw it.
Oh yeah, like lots of controversy about should they have stuck to their guns for the sake of sticking to their guns instead of going back on the intentions, which were clearly enough signposted at the time. But yeah, it's a sort of lose-lose, isn't it?
Yeah, because you ask yourself, do you want quests that are doing quests that are going to effectively be handling the same character back to back, or do you want to try and change things up a bit? And I think the way they did it was pretty good with that. So I'm fine with how they did it. Where do you guys fall?
My hot take is that light and shadow voices still could have just been Sliske possessing the player, and that would have been fine, with essentially no other changes to anything that happened.
Right. Okay.
I mean, I love it. I think the thing at Endgame could have been explained by it just happened, so there was so much of his essence on you or whatever. Magical resonance, whatever you want to call it, that caused that to happen, but as time went away, that faded.
Yeah.
I think that's one way they could have done it, but I mean, like I said, I'm completely satisfied with how they wrapped that up.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason why players wanted it to be Sliske and still have him being possessing you is because if you go back to the Trindine archaeology mystery, when you rescue her from Caradet, she thinks you're someone else, and that's a pretty big point in that direction.
I mean, I never wanted that to be the case, but
it definitely felt like it, right?
It felt like that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
It feels like it was all arrows pointing in the direction of Sliske until very, very recently.
Yeah. And then Saren kind of gaslit us. That part.
You didn't believe her?
I think this is... Do you not remember the episode where I made Mod Chat cry?
I know. I'm just saying I believe Saren for that
put that
thing.
Meme he sent in the show notes or something, Shane.
I will. I'll throw it in Discord and link it. That's hilarious. You can find full episodes of RSBANDB Update right here on this YouTube channel. If you found this video useful or just enjoyed it, like and subscribe, or leave a comment.